Sports.
We are Black Hawk. We are Detroit.
Tigers baseball on Fox Sports Detroit is presented by Bell Tire. Last night, Mother Nature wreaked havoc with the start of the Tigers homestand, pushing Max Scherzer's start back a night. Max on the mound tonight. His last start was outstanding. 12 strikeouts against Seattle. Welcome to Comerica Park on a chilly evening for baseball. Game 1 in this series featuring the Tigers and the Kansas City Royals. Hi again, everyone. Welcome to Tigers Baseball. Mario and Pemba, Ron Allen. Glad to have you with us tonight for the opening game of this homestand. Better late than never. Had a bit of a rain problem last night, but it'll be chilly tonight. Max Scherzer hopes to keep the Royals' bats chilly. He's been really good this year, right?
It's a good night for the pitchers. Of course, the Tigers have to go up against Wade Davis, but anytime it's a cold night, the pitchers do have that advantage, and Max, quite frankly, has an advantage every time he goes out there with that explosive fastball in the mid-90s and that legitimate swing and miss changeup. He's been awfully good this year.
What do you got on Papa Grande? He's back in a Tigers uniform. He made it interesting before the game today.
Remember that conversation we had just a couple of days ago when I said you can't win a championship with a team full of milk drinkers? Well, they brought a serious character back in Papa Grande, and you can see the reason why. Not so much the numbers in Lakeland, because you can throw those out the window, but here's a guy that has ice water in his veins. He closed 110 games for the Tigers in 3 years he was there. Only blew 18, but fans here, they have short memories. Unfortunately, Jim Leyland does not have a short memory, and that's one of the reasons why Papa Grande is back in a Tigers uniform. He also has some unfinished business, just like the rest of the Tigers that went to the World Series last year and were swept by the San Francisco Giants. It's good that he's back and he can go out and redeem himself.
No milk in Papa's locker, that's for sure. After a short break, we'll send you back to the Call Sam Studios in Ryan Field. But tonight, there's no rain, but we do have chilly temperatures. Bundle up. Sit back, relax. Tigers Royals, Game 1, next. Well, the boys are indeed back as we welcome you to Comerica Park in downtown Detroit tonight. Chilly evening for baseball, but the rain has gone, and that is the good news. Tigers and the Royals starting the series here tonight. Here's the starting lineup for the visiting Royals, presented by the Metro Detroit Chevy dealers. Alex Gordon at the top in left field, followed by Alcides Escobar, Billy Butler, Eric Hosmer will back cleanup. Lorenzo Cain having a fine season out in center field. Mike Moustakas at third, bottom three of Francoeur, Salvador Perez, and Busquets. And tonight's Tigers starting pitcher is Max Scherzer, presented by Family Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Max's first three starts this year have simply been overpowering. 30 strikeouts and a 2.84 earned run average, and more importantly, only 4 walks so far this year by Max. He's been sensational.
And so he will face a Royals team that comes in third in the American League in hitting. And so this is a team that really has swung the bats pretty well. And Royals, a bit of a surprise. I guess in some circles they came in at 10-7, leading the Central Division. Alex Gordon will lead it off. And we are ready for baseball here tonight. Here's the first pitch of the ball game. It's a ball outside to Alex Gordon. Alcides Escobar, then Billy Butler here in the first inning for KC. Scherzer has been outstanding, his last two especially. Here's the 1-0. 2 balls and no strikes.
And Max, for the most part, in his first 2 starts, had to get by with just a fastball and a changeup. His slider did come back in his last outing. It was much better than it was in the previous 2 outings.
The 2-0 pitch taking all the way, and it's 2-1 on Alex Gordon. 41 degrees our game time temperature tonight here at the ballpark. Here's the 2-1 pitch. In there, a strike call, 2-2.
Well located fastball there by Max Scherzer at 91 miles an hour on the outside black.
Gordon batting .342. He's knocked in 10 so far this year.
Gordon can hit. Last couple of years, he has really taken off.
Wave and a miss. Down he goes, and Max quickly has his first strikeout tonight.
Let's take a look at the Tigers' defensive alignment here today. It's presented by Beaumont Health System. In the outfield, it's Dirks, Jackson, and Hunter. The infield reads Cabrera, Peralta, Infante, and the Prince. Alex Avila also catching Max Scherzer here tonight. A real nice change piece here by Max Scherzer. You can see it in his hand. It's that fading circle change that he throws quite a bit of.
And so Max, who had double-digit strikeouts in each of his last 2 starts, starts tonight's ball game with a strikeout. Alcides Escobar, the batter. .279 hitter for Escobar, who has hit a couple of homers this year. The 0-1. Make it no balls and 2 strikes. Escobar has hit safely in his last 4. 5 hits in his last 11 at bats. You can see that a lot of these Royals and Tigers are really bundled up tonight. They've got the ski masks on. And both sides feeling the cold this evening. There's the 0-2. Swing and a miss, and an uncomfortable looking swing. 2 strikeouts for Max.
I like the way that Max is incorporating all of his pitches here very early. The real good fastball in the low 90s. He struck Gordon out with a changeup, and he comes back to get Escobar with a slide piece.
And a good one. That'll bring up Billy Butler, Royals designated hitter. Butler off to a .216 start, but he can hit, and once this season cranks up, his numbers will be where they need to be. He's hit 3 homers and knocked in 12.
He clobbers Tigers pitching, and he also hits very well in this yard. If the Tigers can keep him quiet for the next couple of days, it would be a bonus for them.
Bouncing ball back to the mound, knocked down by Scherzer, and that'll be an easy out. 1, 2, 3. Go the Royals in the first inning. Nice start for Max. We'll head to the bottom of the first here at Comerica. No score. Starting things off for the Tigers. Here's the starting lineup for the Tigers, presented by the Michigan Ford dealers. You saw AJ making his way to the batter's box. He'll be followed by Torrey Hunter and Miguel Cabrera. Prince Fielders at first base. Victor Martinez, the DH. Andy Dirks out at left. Peralta, Avila, Infante, your bottom three. And they are facing Wade Davis.
And they got him from the Tampa Bay Rays. He's already made 3 starts, 2-0 record. Very good earned run average. The opponent's hitting only .286 off Davis, who pitched out of the bullpen last year for the Tampa Bay Rays.
Yeah, and he pitched extremely well out of their bullpen. Back in the rotation here after the big trade brought him from Tampa. Jackson batting .291, rolls it foul, and the count is 0-2.
Davis threw a lot harder when he was working out of that bullpen last year for Tampa. Most of his fastballs 94 to 96. Not throwing as hard as he has been inserted back into the starting rotation.
0-2 on Jackson. And he looks at a ball outside. Davis struck out 7 against the Braves in 7 innings in his last outing.
He also has real good control. He's only walked 3 this year. And those 3 walks came in his second start of the season.
Outside again, 2-2. Well, I think the next 2 nights we'll see why the Royals have gotten off to such a quick start. Davis in the rotation. James Shields will pitch tomorrow. 2 key acquisitions. Fouled back out of play. Torrey Hunter waiting on deck. Tigers batting here in the first, scoreless game. Start the homestand a night late because of the rain last night. And that one just missed. 3-2.
That's something that Davis is not afraid to do with his 4-seam fastball at about 92 miles an hour. He will come inside on the right-handed batters and the left-handers.
Driven in the air toward left field. Gordon is on the move, still on the run. He'll make the catch and sprawl out there on the warning track. Terrific running play by Gordon.
Well, you know Gordon is in left field, and let's take a peek at the remainder of the Tim Horton sponsored defense of the Kansas City Royals. Cain's in center. What a really good-looking player. Francoeur in right. Moustakas, Escobar, Getz, and Hosmer in the infield, and Salvador Perez, very talented young catcher, behind the dish. Gordon last couple of years has made 2 Gold Gloves in left field, and if he keeps making plays like this, he's going to win another one.
It is not just because of his arm. It's because of plays like that. Strike called on Torrey. Hunter batting .392, was 3 for 11 in the last series against the Angels. The 0-1. Hunter now with 9 RBIs. Had 12 hits on the road trip. Tiger bats were doing pretty well until they hit Anaheim. They couldn't get the big hit.
Seattle pitched very well against Detroit as well.
Now the 0-2, and time is given to Hunter.
Tigers' last 6 games, only 6 runs scored as a team. So that gives you an idea of the pitching they ran into the second and third legs of that road trip.
Swing and a miss, and Torrey goes down. A good start as well for Davis, 2 away.
Yeah, Davis has all 4 pitches. He's got the fastball, he's got the slider. That's a slider. Also a curveball and a changeup. A 4-pitch mix. That's a well-located slider there.
Davis 54 appearances out of the Rays bullpen last year, where he posted an ERA of 2.43. He'll deal with Cabrera now with 2 outs. Ball 1 to Miguel.
He goes from a team that he played for last year not being able to crack their starting rotation to being the number 2 guy here behind tomorrow's starter James Shields.
That'll bounce in. 2 balls and no strikes. Well, they gave up a big time prospect in Will Myers, but they really got a couple of pitchers that seemingly will be in the rotation for a while now and provide some stabilization. Davis ready with the 2-0. 2 balls, 1 strike on Cabrera. Will Myers, Jake Odorizzi, and a couple of minor leaguers Odorizzi very highly thought of as well, a pitcher. Davis and Shields coming back the other way. 3-1.
I was talking to Jack Maloof, who is the new hitting coach for the Kansas City Royals, about Will Myers before the game today, and he said he has an awfully high ceiling. He's going to be an impact bat for Tampa before it's all said and done.
Bouncer back up the middle and through, a base hit.
Speaking of impact bats, number 24 has one.
First hit of the ball game for the Tigers. We'll bring up Prince Fielder, who has 21 RBIs to start this campaign. He is off to a really good start, although he was slowed toward the end of that road trip. Third in the American League right now in runs driven in. In there for a strike. 0-1 on Prince.
How about Wade Davis in his stretch? He looks just like James Shields, sneaking a peek over at that base runner on first as he gets ready to gather himself before he delivers the ball home.
Yeah, it's almost identical, actually. Here's the 0-1. Outside, 1 ball and 1 strike.
They say that James Shields, who we'll see tomorrow, has just been a huge leader for their club on and off the field, much like Torrey Hunter has been for the Tigers this year.
Now the 1-1. Prince takes high. 2-1 on Fielder. Fielder, we mentioned, third in the American League. Mike Napoli currently leading the AL in RBIs with 25. Now the 2-1. Popped him up. Left side of the infield. Moustakas from his third base position in foul ground to end the inning. No runs, a hit, 1 man left. We'll go to the second tonight at Comerica. The second here at Comerica Park. Tigers got a 2-out single from Cabrera, but that was it. And now Max Scherzer, who finished the first inning with 8 straight strikes, goes to work in the second and missed outside. 1-0. Hosmer, Kane, and Moustakas here in the Royals' second inning. 261 for Hosmer this year. The 1-0 is in for a strike. 1-1.
Good pitch. Outstanding pitch.
Hosmer has not homered yet this year. And he looks at a ball, make it 2-1 the count. Last year his numbers took a bit of a step back. His average dipped to 232. Now the 2-1. Swing and a miss. 2-2.
There's a little concern over there on that Kansas City side after what he did his rookie year, hitting 232 last year, as you mentioned. He had a pretty good spring, but off to a slow start here in 2013.
And Yost knows the ceiling is high, but right now he is stalled a little bit until that swing. He drives one to the gap in right center field. Down it goes all the way to the wall. Hosmer is on his way to second, and he will pull in with a leadoff double. Second two-base hit of the year for Hosmer.
A 93-mile-per-hour fastball from Max that got way too much plate. And with 2 strikes, the ball was up, and it was drilled by Eric Hosmer.
So the Royals have their first hit of the game. And that'll bring up Lorenzo Cain, batting in the 5 slot for KC. And Cain off to a nice 368 start.
Also major numbers and major damage done by Cain with runners in scoring position.
Ball 1 missing away.
They got this guy Cain and their starting shortstop Escobar in the Zach Greinke deal. They got 2 impact players for Zach Greinke.
Escobar is the kid that has most been talked about. Cain has spent some time on the disabled list, and you almost forget about Lorenzo Cain in that deal. But his numbers have really been good. 467 with runners in scoring position this year.
He's a rare talent. They say that this young man could bat first or second or in the middle of the batting order where he's batting now.
1 ball and 1 strike. Checked it outside. He did not go. So says Bill Welke down at first base.
Good call by Bill Welke.
Sun is doing its best to peek through the clouds. But it's sunshine out in left field. That's about it. Now the 2-1. In there is strike 2-2.
I like the way that Max is throwing his breaking ball and changeup in fastball counts. And not only just throwing it, but throwing it for strikes.
Scherzer struck out a pair in the first in a 1-2-3 inning, trying to pitch around a leadoff double here in the second. Low and in, 3-2. Scherzer 12 strikeouts against Seattle. The start before that, he punched out 11 Oakland Athletics. He had himself quite a road trip. A couple of no decisions because the Tigers went to extra innings in each of his last 2 starts.
It's a nice job there by Max keeping an eye on Hosmer, although Hosmer doesn't have great speed. He's a good base runner, good base stealer. 16 bags he stole last year, and the Royals love to steal third base as a team.
To the second baseman. Wicked hop there for Infante, who stayed with it, moved the runner up.
Good at bat there by Cain. Ran the count to 3-2 and drilled a fastball right at Omar Infante to get Hosmer over to third base. I think Infante entertained the thought of maybe trying to get Hosmer at third there. He may have had a shot at him.
It was hit so hard. But that's an awfully long throw to make, and he got the sure out. Tigers will pull the infield in as Mike Moustakas steps to the plate. Hitting only 158 to start the year and 1 RBI. Strike call. So much route has been made about their corner infielders, Moustakas and Hosmer, but both of them this year just have not been able to find any consistency or any traction offensively.
They're off the slow starts. They've also played in some bad weather. They've had a lot of games already canceled.
Yeah, that they have. There's a ground ball to second with the infield in. They'll save a run. 2 gone.
It's a wise decision by Jim Leland to pull the infield in with Moustakas in that batter's box, and he hit it right at Infante.
Two hard hit balls right at the second baseman. Hosmer will hold at third base. And now Jeff Francoeur. Off to a 2:58 start. Wave and a miss, 0-1. Francoeur's offensive output slipped last year as well. He had 87 RBIs 2 years ago. He had just 49 last season, but he does bring that arm with him and that defensive ability every game. The 0-1, swing and a miss, 0-2.
Real late on that 94-mile-per-hour fastball from Max. Max can go a couple different ways now. He can come back with a 94-mile-per-hour heater. Just make sure you get it up a little higher, or simply go down and away with a good slider to finish Francoeur off.
Swing and a miss. He struck him out. 3 pitches, and he finishes off Francoeur. 3rd strikeout of the game. Scherzer pitches around a leadoff double.
Head and shoulders, and you don't have to go back very far. It's the last pitch that Max threw to Jeff Francoeur. Good slider down and away to get the strikeout, his 3rd of the game.
So the Tigers able to sidestep some trouble in the second. Now they bat in the bottom half. It'll be Victor Martinez leading it off. Martinez, then Dirks, and then Peralta. Facing the right-hander Wade Davis. And he floats one in for a strike, 0-1. Victor batting 182. 1 for 13 in that series against the Angels. Tigers really couldn't get anything going offensively in that series and were swept. Ball inside, 1-1. Wade Davis out of Lake Wales, Florida, not too far from Lakeland. Goes 6'5", 225. Brings home the 1-1. Pull to the right side, diving stop Hosmer. He'll take it himself. That's the way it's going right now for Victor.
When you look at the Kansas City Royals defensive alignment, they're very young, they're very athletic, and they have some guys that are going to win some gold gloves before their careers are over, and Hosmer would fall into that category. Just an outstanding play. Ball takes a trippy hop on him, he leaves his feet, he's able to glove it, and then get to the bag himself.
Hosmer last year was a finalist for the gold glove voting. Nifty play there, saved a 2-base hit. And here is Andy Dirks. Saw the numbers there for Dirks against the Royals. 381 career. Here's the 0-1. And he looks at a ball. 1 ball and 1 strike. Bouncing ball right side, ranging to his right is Chris Getz. And there are 2 gone. Time now for the Farmers Insurance Report Card. We want to talk about the largest run differential, home and away. And when you look at the Tigers, at home they average about 6.5 runs per game. On the road, a little over 3. That's a very large differential. In fact, the largest in the major leagues. So they have certainly felt more comfortable here at Comerica Park. Here's Johnny Peralta with 2 outs. In there for strike 1. Johnny batting .296, 7 RBIs this year. Here's the 0-1 from Davis. 1 ball and 1 strike. Johnny had a pretty good road trip, 10 hits in that 9-game trip. Good breaking ball, dips in for a strike, and the count is 1-2. Two out, nobody on. Tigers bat in the second. And a line drive over the head of the shortstop Escobar. Second hit of the ball game for the Tigers. Both of them have come with 2 outs.
And Johnny Peralta just continues to swing a hot stick here in 2013.
Now it'll be the number 8 hitter, Alex Avila. Avila has 2 hits in his career against Davis. He's 2 for 7. However, those 2 hits are both home runs. Missed it high, 1 ball and no strikes. Alex right now batting .196. Four hits on the recent road trip. Breaking ball is a tad outside. 2-0 the count. Davis did have some success in the rotation for Tampa before he was put into the bullpen last year. And of course, the Rays have always had a deep rotation. They have a lot of good young talent. Davis was a double-digit winner in the 2 years prior to last year as a starter. Here's the 2-0. 3-0 on Avila.
Would not be shocked to see Avila swing here 3-0. We've already seen him do it once this year. He also did it once in spring training.
Infante would be next. And he'll take ball 4. The Tigers have something going now with 2 outs. That'll be the first walk of the ball game for Davis. We'll also bring the catcher Perez out to the mound. We'll chat about how they want to go after Infante here. Batting .250, 3 hits on the road trip for Omar. Six home runs lifetime against the Royals. KC came into this ball game with 10 victories, 7 defeats, and atop the Central Division. Infante trying to pick up Peralta and Avila. In the dirt, 1-0. Omar got off to that blistering start, but like many of the Tigers, he was cooled significantly in Seattle and then Anaheim. Trying to deliver a big 2-out hit here in the second. No score. Davis missing again, 2-0. That's in there, a strike down the middle. It comes at 90 miles an hour, 2-1. Davis trying to work out of a jam here in the second. 2 on, 2 out. And the 2-1. Line drive, base hit left field. Here comes Peralta rounding third, and he will come around to score. It's an RBI single for Omar Infante.
Very patient at bat for Infante. He worked the count in his favor to 2-1. He got a cutter there from Davis at 89 miles an hour that didn't do a whole lot. Drilled to left field. Johnny Peralta, good secondary lead, able to score without a throw from the very good arm in left field that Alex Gordon has.
Third hit of the game for the Tigers. The RBI for Infante is his 5th of the year. And the Tigers grab an early lead here with a key 2-out hit. And now Davis will have to face the top of the lineup, Austin Jackson. And Jackson had a double taken away and a fine sprawling play by Gordon back in the first inning. And a foul straight back, 0-1. Jackson had 10 hits on the road trip, but has stalled a bit lately. He is 0 for his last 15. He's got Avila down at second base, and he has Infante at first. 1-0. Tigers have the lead here in the second. Good block at home plate by Salvador Perez.
Salvador Perez is an outstanding looking young prospect. One of the brightest catching prospects to come to the major leagues in over a decade.
Here's the 1-1. In there for a strike.
As a matter of fact, their manager Ned Yost, who spent a lot of time in the Atlanta Braves organization as a coach under Bobby Cox, and said that Javi Lopez, who caught for Atlanta in those days when he was there, and he gave those same type of comparisons from the batting standpoint to Perez, and defensively he's heading shoulders above most.
Well, the one thing Perez is not afraid to do, he's got a strong throwing arm. He had 5 pickoffs last year. So you can't fall asleep on Salvador when you're on the bases.
That's why Rafael Belliard in the ear of Infante, making sure that he knows what you just said. You don't want Hosmer sneaking in behind you at first base.
Davis now has thrown 41 pitches, only 22 of them for strikes. And the 2-2. Down he goes. Jackson strikes out swinging to end the inning. Tigers get a run on the RBI hit by Infante. You're watching Tigers baseball tonight, presented by Bell Tire. America Bank, a part of Detroit and the community since 1849. Jeep. Visit Jeep.com to learn more. And by Spartan Stores. For locations, visit TurnToSpartan.com. A little bit of a chilly evening here tonight at the ballpark. The good news is there is no rain right now, and it's 1-0 in favor of the Tigers as we go to the top of inning number 3. Salvador Perez will lead things off. Perez, then Chris Getz, and then the top of the order, Alex Gordon. Scherzer in the last inning did a really good job of pitching around the leadoff double by Hosmer. He got a couple of grounders and then punched out Francoeur on 3 pitches. And Max so far his fan 3. The 0-1. Little looper into right. That's going to drop in. Base hit. Leadoff single for Perez. And it brings up the number 9 hitter, Chris Getz. This is a Royals team that, as you might remember last year, Doug Fisker struck out 9 straight batters against this Royals team. And Scherzer, of course, is a strikeout artist, so you would think that he might pick up a few more tonight.
Getz, one of those guys on this Kansas City Royals roster that will bunt for a hit. And he also will be used to sacrifice by Ned Yost, their skipper.
Grosse Pointe South High School product. Chris Getz batting .240. There you go. Here are the particulars on Chris. 4th round pick of the White Sox in 05. The 1-0. Fouled back, 1 ball and 1 strike. Getz has been hampered by some injuries. Had a leg strain and a fractured thumb last season, which limited his availability. He comes into this game 0 for his last 13. And the 1-1. 1-2 on Getz. Top of the order waiting, that would be Alex Gordon. Tigers have a run on 3 hits. The Royals no runs on 2 hits. again back out of play. Scherzer, like most, loves pitching here at Comerica Park. This has been a really good pitcher's park over the years. He is 24-11 here in a Tigers uniform at home. Very good ERA as well of about 3.5. Let's look at his numbers here at Comerica Park. Now the 1-2. Bouncing ball right side, going to find a hole, base hit. Perez gets to second and stops there. While we have a chance, back to the studio we go for a game break. Here's Mickey York. All right, Mick, thanks. Well, here it is 1-0 Tigers. However, the Royals have something going now with a couple of base hits.
He did Getz a favor there. He threw him a changeup that Getz was out in front of, but he found a hole on the right side of the Tigers infield, and that was after throwing a few fastballs right by Getz.
Gordon looks at ball one. He struck out to start the ball game, one of 2 punch-outs in that first inning for Scherzer. Salvador Perez started the frame with a base hit. Getz has singled as well. And a ground ball under the glove of the first baseman fielder. Perez rounding third. He will score. Getz coming to third, and he'll step in there. It'll be a double and an RBI for Alex Gordon. And the Royals, just like that, on 3 straight hits, have tied this game.
Well, Gordon led all of baseball last year with 51 doubles, his 11th RBI of the season. Max gets the ground ball, but it's right down the line. Prince Fielder reaches for it, can't get down and make a play on it, but Gordon's just a doubles machine.
Three straight hits and 4 in the game for KC. 6th double of this campaign for Gordon.
Escobar very, very aggressive, especially on first pitch. Should Scherzer throw him a fastball here? And the way you get him out was with breaking balls.
Escobar struck out his first time up. Sends a ground ball, base hit to left. Getz will score. Gordon will go to third. And the Royals take the lead.
And Max knows the scouting report on Escobar. He knows that he loves the first pitch fastballs. Max threw another fastball there. It was down, but the hole was found by Escobar on the left side of the infield. This Royals team has really always been able to hit. Kevin Seitzer was their hitting coach the last few years, and they were always right at the top in the American League in batting average, but they really didn't have anybody to drive in runs.
Well, they're just about there again this year. The Angels at 277, the Tigers at 274, and then Kansas City third in the league in hitting.
35 steals for Escobar last year. He has the green light.
Butler sends one back up the middle into center field. They just keep chipping away. Another run will score. Escobar to third, and the Royals now lead 3-1.
And Billy Butler came in cold, but with his numbers here at Comerica Park and his overall numbers against Tigers pitching since he's come to the show, you knew he'd somehow get loose in this game.
That'll be his 13th RBI.
Second time through the batting order, the Kansas City Royals are very aggressive against Max. They know the numbers that we told you before the game. 30 strikeouts coming into this game for Max and only 4 walks. So that tells the opposing batters that he's always around the plate, so you can be more aggressive.
Well, the Bernstein Advantage brings you the scouting report on the Royals' struggling headline hitters. And these are some of the Royals that came in not swinging the bat all that well this season. But they've put together 5 straight hits here in the third. It seemed Moustakas really battling it. Billy Butler came in at 226. Hosmer is yet to homer. But they've all chipped in here this evening. And Escobar is at third. Butler is at first. Hosmer had a double to lead off the second, but did not score. And he skies this one in the air to center field. Jackson going back deep enough to score a run. Escobar comes trotting home, a sac fly, RBI for Hosmer. And the Royals are just swinging away here in the third. It'll be his 5th RBI of the year. 4 spot for Kansas City. That is the first out of the inning. There's Lorenzo Cain. Strike 1 on Cain. Grounded out his first time up. And a bouncing ball back up the middle. Peralta flips to second for 1. There's the relay and a double play. Well, that came in handy. 6-4-3, but some damage has been done. A 4 spot for KC. By Miller Lite. Tigers had some work to do now. They trailed 4-1.
Well, the Tigers have been playing some outstanding baseball right here at Comerica Park, averaging close to 7 runs a game. They've got a lot of outs left in this contest.
And they've got 2, 3, and 4 coming up here in the third against Wade Davis. Torrey Hunter looks at ball 1 high.
And Torrey, Miggy, and also Prince hitting better than 400 right here at Comerica Park.
Hunter struck out in the first against Davis. Here's the 1-0. Chop foul. 1 ball and 1 strike on Hunter.
The Angels fans really took care of Torrey Hunter when the ball club was out west. They absolutely adored him there. In the 5 years he spent in their uniform. Huge standing ovation if you guys missed it.
1-2. I was talking to Torrey about that before the game, and he was talking about how he felt that probably was his grade for his time in Anaheim. That's how he graded out how the fans reacted to him. And how we all know how Torrey plays the game. He plays hard every single day, appreciates the fact that he has a major league job, and fans out in Anaheim appreciated that. Cabrera waiting his turn on deck. Here's the 2-2. Bouncing ball third base side right into Moustakas. 1 out.
Speaking of appreciation, that's what Miguel Cabrera was talking about yesterday. He was talking about when the Tigers were in Kansas City, that final game of the year, when he was marching toward winning the first Triple Crown in a number of years. 30,000 fans gave him a standing ovation in Kansas City. And he said it was awfully special, not only to him, but also to his family who was in attendance that evening in Kansas City.
Really was one of the coolest moments of all of last year. Tigers, of course, battling for a spot in the playoffs down the stretch, but also Cabrera battling for an MVP and a Triple Crown.
Kansas City Royals had 12,000 walk-up fans that day to get the total attendance of 30,000 to witness history.
1 ball, 1 strike on Cabrera.
Miggy also said he really didn't get a chance to reflect on just how special that moment was until he got back home to Florida after the World Series concluded.
It's kind of usually the case, isn't it? I mean, stuff happens so quickly, and you're in the heat of a pennant race, getting ready for the playoffs. You don't stop to think about it. The 1-1 pitch is fouled back out of play. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Wade Davis now is starting to pile up the pitches, and as you can see, his ratio has not been good. But his teammates have backed him up with 4 runs.
They've also made 2 really good defensive plays behind him already today.
Here's the 1-2. Fouled away.
Gordon in left field made a really nice diving catch, taking away a double from Austin Jackson. And Hosmer, their first baseman, made a real nice play on Victor Martinez, taking a double away from him.
And again the 1-2. Off the plate, 2 balls, 2 strikes. Prince Fielder lurking on deck. 1 out, nobody on, 3rd inning. And it's 4-1 KC. Missed it inside with a bender, and the count evens now. Or runs full, I should say, to 3-2. Shoots this one in the air to center. Hit well. Kane is on the run. Still going back. Not going to get it. Up against the 420 sign. It'll be a 2-base hit for Miguel Cabrera. Well, this Sunday, the Tigers wrap up a 3-game series against the Atlanta Braves with a special 8:05 game. All kids 14 and under receive a Miguel Cabrera Triple Crown hat. Call 866-66-TIGER or visit Tigers.com. And that last swing provided a missile off the bat of Miguel Cabrera.
I was watching Lorenzo Cain, their center fielder. He's gifted, has a lot of speed out there, but plays very shallow. And with some of these big boppers the Tigers have in their batting order, it was just a matter of time before somebody hit something over his head.
Here is Fielder, who popped up back in the first, 0 for 1.
Kansas City used to have a really good, fast center fielder that wore number 6. Willie Wilson was his name.
Here's the 1-0. It seemed like everybody on those 70s and 80s teams of the Royals were fast. He swiped a lot of bases. Willie Wilson, great center fielder.
Boy, could he run.
Two 2-0 on Prince Fielder. Tigers have their 4th hit of the game. In there is strike, and it goes to 2-1. Fielder's RBI numbers through 18 games as compared to last year are up. Home runs up as well. The average slightly higher.
Jackson, Hunter, and Miguel are always on the base paths. So Prince hitting in an ideal situation.
And Davis now has fallen behind Fielder 3-1.
one mighty swing of the bat. Prince Fielder can get the score to 4-3.
Seven scoreless in his last start at Atlanta, but a different story here today. The Tigers have scored a run, and now there's more trouble.
That's when Atlanta was on fire. Hottest team in baseball. And when he shut them down.
Three-one pitch. Pulled foul, first baseline.
That's a good pitch by Davis. Predictable fastball count for a dangerous fastball hitter and fielder, and he comes with a curveball that Prince is out in front of. A really good pitch here. It's a spike curveball that he throws there.
The Braves had a 10-game winning streak when Davis shut him down in his last start. Here's the 3-2. Walked him.
It's about time for Victor Martinez to wake up. Victor was out with Lloyd McClendon early yesterday, taking some batting practice, working on driving the ball right back through the center of the diamond, whether batting left-handed or right-handed. And it's first time up today. Hit the ball sharply right at Hosmer. Here's some of that work yesterday with McClendon, and you can see Lloyd talking to him about his body and his balance and just driving the ball back the other way, getting to a real good balanced position.
That had to be yesterday, because he certainly wouldn't be wearing shorts if it was today. And or a t-shirt. 2 on 1 out. Ball one.
Good arms in the outfield for the Kansas City Royals. Fred Core has been one of the best throwing right fielders since the beginning of the 2005 season. Alex Gordon in left field racks up plenty of assists himself. And Kane in center field has a strong arm, which means Miguel needs to get a good secondary lead. Should Tom Brookins send him home on a base hit.
Ground ball, fair ball inside the bag at first base. That'll get one run in. Cabrera comes around to score. Fielder hits the bag at third and stops there. It's a double and an RBI for Victor Martinez. A much needed RBI hit for Victor.
It's the second time Victor Martinez has hit the ball right down that first baseline. First time Hosmer robbed him of a double. This time Hosmer was not able to get to this one. It's a cut fastball at the top of the zone, whistled right past Hosmer. Prince Fielder had to hold up at third.
Four to 2 ball game. Tigers have their 5th hit. Andy Dirks can tie it up with a base hit. He looks at ball one. Pair of doubles in this inning for the Tigers, plus a walk. Here's the 1-0. Dirks popped it up in the air, shallow left. Gordon coming in. Fielder will tag, but he's going to hold. And as Gordon gets the ball back in, Dirks is out, 2 gone. And that's going to leave it up to Johnny Peralta. 64 pitches now for Wade Davis. We're only in the 3rd.
And the Royals have one of those bullpens that you don't necessarily want to get into. I mean, there are some teams where you like to get into the bullpen. You want to pile up the starting pitcher's pitch count to see if you can get them out of the game. You don't necessarily want to go into this Royals bullpen.
There's Johnny Peralta.
Much rather do your damage against Davis here today.
And he lines one to right, a base hit. Fielder scores. Martinez rounding third. They're going to send him home. Francour's throw, and he's going to be waiting for him And Martinez will take a U-turn before he even touches home plate, and he'll be called out.
Well, I don't know about that one, Mr. Brookins.
With the arm in right field of Francoeur, that play never had a chance. 1 run scores as Fielder comes in on that play. The Tigers will get 2 for the inning. But this is about as wide a margin and as easy as an assist as Francoeur will get. Well, the Tigers claw back with a couple of runs. It is now a 4-3 ball game as Scherzer goes back to the hill. And Max here in the 4th inning will face Moustakas, Francoeur, and Perez. 4-6-0 for KC, 3-6-0 for Detroit. Swing and a miss, 1-1. Moustakas 0 for 1 with a ground out. He had a chance to drive in a run, a man at third, less than 2 outs, and he hit one to second base with the infield in, so they couldn't score the run. Bouncing in there, 2 balls and 1 strike. And on deck is Jeff Francoeur, who just uncorked a perfect throw to the plate to get Victor Martinez by a wide margin. Here's the 2-1. High, 3 balls, 1 strike. Scherzer back in the 3rd. Gave up 5 straight hits. Got a double play to get out of the 3rd inning, though, but gave up 4 runs. And it's in there for a strike. 3-2 on Moustakas. Moustakas struggled after the All-Star break last year. Hit just .211. Here's the 3-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. Down he goes, and Scherzer has another strikeout.
Let's take one look at the throw by Francoeur, who has a very quick release and airmails the cutoff man to get assist number 118 since coming to the major leagues, which is 33 more than the second guy on the list, and that's Alfonso Soriano.
There's a wave and a miss as Francoeur chased one up. 0-1.
He has seen 4 pitches so far today, and he has swung and missed at all 4. Only 1 walk this year for Francoeur in 63 at bats.
That's somewhat difficult to do. He's behind in the count again, 0-2.
The guy in the on deck circle, he has only 1 walk as well in 67 at bats. So Perez and Francoeur, they're very aggressive so far this year.
Now the 0-2. Bouncing ball back up the middle. Peralta has this one. And Francoeur is out, 2 away.
Here's today's high speed stat brought to you by Charter Internet. Velocity fastballs for Max 94 miles an hour. His slider right around 85, which is pretty good. A 10-mile differential.
We'll bring up Perez now with 2 outs. Max has retired 4 straight. And he misses low. 1-0 on Perez.
And Perez missed the first half of last year, but when he came back the second half of the season, there was no catcher that did as much damage as he did in the American League.
Well, he had signed that long-term deal despite his age and lack of big league time, and then he suffered a torn meniscus. But it didn't slow him down when he came back. Hitting .301. Scherzer throws a strike. 2-1 the count. Salvador in his days in the minor leagues 3 times was voted as the best defensive catcher by Baseball America. Fouls that one back out of play, but he is certainly not just a defensive performer. This kid can hit. Hit 11 home runs in half a season last year. Breaking ball, and it just missed inside. 3-2.
That slider backed up on Max. Stayed inside on Perez.
And a ground ball to short. Peralta handles another one. And it's going to be a 1-2-3 inning. The mighty taste of Arby's new Mighty Minis today. Arby's, slicing up freshness. And by Bell Tire, get the lowest tire price, period. Bell Tire. Well, the skies are clearing here in the Motor City, but still a cool evening for baseball. Actually, the temperature's gone up a degree. It's 42. And the Tigers down by a run. Head to the bottom of the 4th inning against Wade Davis, Avila, Infante, and then Austin Jackson.
If you think it's chilly here, how would you like to be the Atlanta Braves or the Colorado Rockies players? They started the first game of a doubleheader yesterday. It was 23 degrees in Colorado.
Pass on that. 23
degrees. That was after getting snowed out the day before.
Well, I guess when you've had as much bad weather as they've had, you have no choice but to start in those conditions. There's a strike called on Avila, but 23, I don't think I've ever seen a temperature that low at the start of a game. 0-1 on Avila, who walked in the second. Davis was staked to a 4-1 lead, but the Tigers got a couple back. 1 ball, 1 strike. Avila looks it into the glove. 2-1 on Alex. Davis is 27 years old, so he's still young by baseball standards. Won't be 28 until September the 7th. The 2-1 pitch. Outside, 3-1. One thing he has struggled with tonight is throwing strikes. His ratio has not been good at all. And because of that, the pitch count has been up.
And the Tigers have the kind of lineup, especially playing here at Comerica Park, that would cause some pitchers to tiptoe around that strike zone.
3-1 pitch. There's another walk for Avila. Davis has walked the number 8 hitter twice in this game. 36 strikes, 34 have missed the strike zone. Third walk of the game as Infante stands in. He produced an RBI single back in the second and came with 2 outs. Fouled straight back, 0-1.
Among number 9 hitters in the majors this year, none has been as efficient as Infante. 14 hits, which leads all number 9 hitters.
Eric Sogard looks like an accountant with those glasses.
That's a good thing. He can watch his own money.
It's a good thing this time of the year, especially. 1 ball, 1 strike. Infante now with 5 RBIs. Tigers have the tying run on the bases now with nobody out. The 1-1 breaking ball. 1-2. Davis made his major league debut against the Tigers. Pretty good breaking ball there. That was back in September of 09. He went 7 innings and struck out 9 Tigers in that game. Gave up just 1 run. No decision though. The 1-2. Line drive to left. There's another base hit. Sort of a looping line drive to left. 2 for 2 for Infante.
And the bunt is in order here for the Tigers. Runners on first and second. There are nobody out. They trail by 1 run. And Jackson has struggled lately at the plate for his last 16. And you want to make sure you get Miguel to the dish with runners in scoring position some way, somehow.
Jackson a strikeout and a fly out. Cabrera waiting his turn in the Tiger dugout.
Austin does not have a sac bunt this year. Tigers have only 3 as a team.
Rob, we've talked about that over the last couple of years, and not necessarily sacrifice bunts, but Austin maybe improving as a bunter for a base hit. I mean, that would certainly add a piece to his arsenal.
I know Torrey Hunter has been in his ear about what you just mentioned.
There you go. He takes ball 1.
And Torrey Hunter had quite a few bunt base hits last year, his last year in Los Angeles, and he has encouraged Jackson to, when that third baseman is giving you some room down there, go ahead and drop it down.
Chopper to third, foul. 1-1 on Jackson. Austin, despite his recent struggles, is still among the best at scoring runs in the American League. Austin has scored 19 runs this year. Trying to keep it going here against Davis. Coco Crisp is leading the American League, or came in tonight leading with 20 runs scored. Here's the 1-1. Swing and a miss. 1-2. Leadoff walk to Avila. A single by Infante. Tigers down by a run. Batting in the fourth. A lot of offense already between these two teams in the first game of the series. 7 runs on 13 hits. High and away, 2-2. Avila and Infante. And the 2-2. Fouled off. This is about to be the 80th pitch for Davis, who has averaged, well, it's going to be over 20 per inning by the time he gets out of this frame, if indeed he does. And Yost, his third season in KC, his team off to a good start. The 2-2 is outside, 3-2.
And Ned Yost, his bullpen in pretty good shape. The Royals have not played that much lately, only 2 games in the last 6 days.
1 game lead coming in for KC. Three and 2 with nobody out. And a ground ball to third. Moustakas bottles. He'll tag the runner coming down the line for the only out. And Jackson aboard in the fielder's choice.
And that bobble cost them a double play.
Time now for the AT&T trivia question. We're just talking about managers. Who are the 4 current major league managers who played for the Royals at some point in their career? There are 4 current major league managers who played for the Royals at some point in their playing days. See how many you can get. There's Torrey Hunter. Hunter is 0 for 2. Oh and 1. Tigers got the first 2 men on. They bat here with 1 out. And the 0-1 pitch. Ground ball to third. Moustakas has it go through him into left field. That'll tie the game up. Right through Mike Moustakas, a Gold Glove caliber type third baseman.
As a rule of thumb, when you're in the infield, what you have to do is you have to get your glove down and then you work your way up. Moustakas there had the glove up and couldn't react to the ground ball that stayed down, and it went right through the 5-hole.
So Moustakas unable to turn the double play on the previous batter, has that one go right through him. It's a 4-4 game as Infante scores.
This Royals team has a lot of promise as far as athleticism and the way that they can defend, but they made 113 errors last year, which was second only to Tampa. Tampa made 114 last year. It's a high total for a talented infield group that they have.
Well, especially when you talk about a guy like Moustakas, a Gold Glove candidate and finalist. Same with Hosmer at first base. Escobar.
He made 19 errors at shortstop, but boy, can he play that shortstop position.
Swing and a miss by Cabrera. So we are all tied up at 4 runs apiece. '24th in the major leagues last year for KC. And the defense letting them down a little bit here in the 4th inning in this one.
Yeah, they should be back in the dugout with those 2 ground balls off the bat of Jackson and Hunter.
High fly ball, left center field. Kane coming over. Runner will tag and score as Jackson comes in easily. Give Cabrera an RBI, and the Tigers regain the lead. Four ball game. 19th RBI for Cabrera. The miscue by Moustakas proves costly. Here's Prince Fielder. Prince has a walk and a run scored. .329 batting average. Throw back. One ball, no strikes on the Prince. Tigers now have 5 runs on 7 hits. They've scored in each of the last 3 innings. Strike called. Up the right hand goes Fielden Culbreth. 1-1. Waiting on deck, Victor Martinez. Two and 1 the count. This all started with a base on balls, but the error by Moustakas has figured in the scoring here. And as well, the inability to turn a double play. They play Fielder to pull on the infield, giving up that entire third base line. If he indeed wants to go that way, they probably wouldn't mind all that much.
They play him straight up in the outfield.
And the 2-1. 3-1 on Fielder. And the next pitch for Davis will be his 90th.
Prince has already walked 13 times this year.
That'll put 2 aboard. 4 walks now for Davis. There's the ratio through 90 pitches. And Mendoza warming up there. Hey, you can have your picnic or party in an upcoming Tigers game. Group picnics and party suites. Those tickets are on sale right now. Groups of 15 or more get discounted tickets to select games. 313-471-BALL is the phone number, or if you'd like, go online at tigers.com. Obviously, the Tigers now can add to their lead. They have scored 2 here in the 4th inning. Victor Martinez will stand in.
I was talking to Victor yesterday after his early BP session with the hitting coach Lloyd McClendon, and he told me that he was going to get 3 hits tonight. That was last night. The Tigers didn't play, but he's come out today with 1 double and robbed of another base hit by Hosmer at first base. So I guess he knew he was onto something.
RBI double back in the 3rd, providing Victor with his 5th RBI of the season. And he takes a strike, 1-1. Another long half inning for Wade Davis. Tigers have scored 2 to regain the lead. And the 1-1. 2-1 the count.
Yeah, Victor looks like he's staying back a little bit better, not as jumpy as he has been, especially in that series in Los Angeles and Seattle. Really jumpy on both sides of the plate, getting out there on that front foot, which really didn't leave him much margin for error. Didn't have a lot of bat speed.
Checked it high, 3-1. Do you think a guy like Martinez, who's had so much success at this level, goes to Lloyd and says, Lloyd, I need some help? Or does Lloyd come to him and say, look, I think we found something?
I think it's mutual. I think Victor wanted to get out and start to work. The weather was pretty good yesterday before the rain came at about 7 o'clock. And they were able to work on that swing. Not only did they do the soft toss work, but he also took some swings off of a batting practice pitcher. He was out there for about 25-30 minutes.
Now the 3-1. Line drive, left center field, base hit. That'll get another run in. Victor Martinez, his second straight RBI hit, scored Torrey Hunter, and it's 6-4 Tigers.
That is exactly what they worked on yesterday afternoon from the left side, staying back and getting on that back leg. He works the count to 3-2. Here's a fastball that's up in the strike zone. Great concentration here by Victor. I mean, look at where the head is, looking directly on the ball, not trying to do too much in that count. Big 2-out knock.
Second RBI of the night for Martinez. Hunter scores with ease, and that is going to be the knockout punch for Wade Davis. Royals go to the bullpen. It's a wall-side windows pitching change. Tigers up 6-4.
Bats by Victor Martinez today. One in the second inning, and you can see how he's resting on that left knee. Very comfortable, staying back on the baseball, seeing the ball very well. Robbed of a double his first time up. Hosmer couldn't get the second one in the third inning. And then Victor comes up, gets himself in a 3-1 count. And the final pitch that Wade Davis threw of the evening, a single, a laser in the left center field by Victor.
So the Royals have gone to the bullpen now. The Tigers have taken the lead 6-4. It's Luis Mendoza taking over.
Luis Mendoza was scheduled to start the middle game of this series, with Davis being first, Mendoza second, Shields third, but with the rain out, pushed back to the bullpen again.
Dirk swings on the first and lines it foul.
They were teasing Mendoza down in the clubhouse today. He has that length on his hair, and there was a lady that was cutting the visitor's hair today, and someone told him there's a barber over there. You might want to go visit her.
Nice. No balls, 1 strike.
I guess she's a beautician, right?
Yeah,
Ladies aren't barbers.
Yeah. A barbette, maybe.
Beautician.
Okay, well, beautician. Matt Tuiasosopo has that type of hair as well. I long for those days. Here's the 1-1. Broken bat, look out. And a roll foul.
You can get help nowadays if you're not blessed with lengthy hair.
Yeah.
You can get some extensions and whatnot.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to pass on the plugs. Did you ever grow your hair out when you played?
I had a fro. I had a fro back in high school.
Was it an Oscar Gamble type fro?
I could not get that kind of length on mine, but it was pretty good.
1-2 on Dirks. Andy is 0 for 2. Tigers trying to add to their 3-run fourth. Looking for another 2-out knock. Right through the legs of the catcher Perez. Advance the runners. We'll see if this affects the inning.
Perez did the exact same thing the third baseman did on the ball off the bat of Torrey Hunter. It just didn't get that old tailgate down.
Two balls, 2 strikes. Three and 2 on Dirks.
You have to give the Tigers some credit because Davis really should have been out of the inning without giving up 1 run in this inning.
It's true.
But the one bobble off the bat of Jackson, which should have been a double play ball by Moustakas. And the next ball definitely should have been a double play ball. They did not turn either one.
And that's in the dirt, and that is ball 4 as Dirks gets a walk. That'll load the bases. It's 5 walks now for KC pitching. As you look at the run production, boy, it sure is good to be home apparently. Previous 5 games combined, the Tigers had 6 runs. And they have 6 already tonight. Tigers at one point trailed in this game 4-1. 5 unanswered runs and maybe more. Here is the 9th man to bat in the inning, Johnny Peralta. Strike 1 on Peralta. They're loaded up with Tigers. Fielder, Martinez, and Dirks. Here's the 0-1. Gets away from Perez, but not far enough. 1 ball, 1 strike. Mendoza is out of Veracruz, Mexico, 29 years old. Spent his first full season in the majors last year with KC and really established pretty much career high numbers in most of the categories. Inside high, 2 balls, 1 strike. Johnny's average now is up to 315 with a couple of hits in this game plus an RBI. And the man that started this inning with a walk is waiting on deck, Avila. Low, 3-1. Royals tonight have had trouble throwing strikes. They have combined to put up 5 walks.
Wade Davis walked 4 before departing. He had only walked 3 all season before tonight.
And the 3-1 swing and a miss. Full count on Peralta. Start the runners on this next pitch. Tigers can bust this one open here a little bit if they can get a big base hit from Johnny. He's hit safely now in his last 5 consecutive games. And Salvi Perez out to the mound to talk with Mendoza.
Yeah, they just want to make sure that Victor's not trying to relay signs to Johnny Peralta. Victor, of course, a catcher himself, and not very difficult for him to pick up the sequence that Perez is putting down.
Walked in, ball 4. That'll force in a run. 6 walks for Kansas City pitching tonight. One of those walks, Fielder has come in to score a run, and that's going to bring Dave Island out of their dugout.
Very patient at bat by Johnny Peralta. That last fastball not even close.
That will jump the lead to 7-4. That run belongs to the starter Davis.
Well, if you're Avila here with the bases loaded in 2 outs, look for your first pitch fastball in an area where you want to hit it. If you get it, there's no need for you to take it. About 90% after the pitching coach goes out to visit, that next pitch is a heater.
Avila started this inning with a walk. And he swings on that first pitch and fouls it out of play. No balls, 1 strike. Alex on base twice tonight, both times base on balls. He's got Victor Martinez down at third. Dirks at second. And Peralta's just walked. Royals pitching has not been ahead in the count much at all this evening. Here's the 0-1. Good pickup by Perez. 1 ball, 1 strike.
And the main reason why the Royals are in first place in the AL Central as we speak is because their pitching has been good this year. Lots of strikeouts, very few walks. Not so much tonight.
Well, they came into this game and only Minnesota as a staff had fewer walks in the American League than the Royal staff.
That's a surprise. Minnesota not walking anybody.
Here's the 1-1. 2-1. So Mendoza, since coming in, has thrown 15. 10 of them have missed the strike zone. Infante waiting on deck. Driven toward left field. It'll chase Gordon back a couple of steps, and that'll end the inning. Tigers sending 10 men to the plate in a big inning for Detroit. They scored 4 runs in the frame, and they've taken the lead now 7-4. And the numbers on Max through 55 pitches in this game. He's gone 4 innings.
4 strikeouts, and we talked about Max coming into the ball game today. 30 strikeouts and only 4 walks this year. So he is clearly taking that next level at really pounding that strike zone.
Here's that AT&T trivia question again. We'll give you the answer as well. You had a chance to think about this. Who are the 4 current Major League managers who played for the Royals at some point in their career? There were 4 of them, and the answer is Clint Hurdle, Bud Black, Bob Melvin, and our good buddy Kirk Gibson. Those are the 4. On our way now to the 5th inning in a 7-4 ball game. And Scherzer now will face Chris Getz to start things off. Getz and then Gordon and then Escobar. 1-for-1 base hit, run scored for Getz. They came back in that 4-run third in which the Royals scored all of their runs. And he starts them off fastball high, 1-0. So Scherzer had to sit down for a little while on the bench while his teammates were getting him 4 runs. Here's a strike, 1-1. Getz try to drop down a bunt. 2-1 the count. Three and 1. And he walked him. Lead off base on balls to the number 9 hitter. Hey, don't forget you can vote for your Tigers McDonald's Player of the Game, presented by the new Premium McWrap. Using your cell phone, text Tigers followed by a space and the player's uniform number to 37338, or you can vote online at foxsportsdetroit.com. First walk of the evening for Scherzer. He's going to bring up the top of the order now, Alex Gordon. Ball 1. Gordon had an RBI double in the third. Part of a string of 5 consecutive hits for the Royals as they put up 4 in that third frame. And the 1-0. 1 ball, 1 strike. Back-to-back gold gloves for Alex Gordon. He showed off some of that form by robbing Jackson earlier in the game. And a nice play out in left. The 1-1 pitch. 2 balls, 1 strike.
Rusty Kuntz, first base coach for the Kansas City Royals and former Tiger. He was on that '84 Tigers championship team. Outstanding base running coach, and even better with the outfielders. And he helped Gordon make that transition from third base to left field a couple of years ago.
Max missing again. 3-1.
There was so much pressure for Alex Gordon when he was playing third base because he was an outstanding collegiate player. His 1 year in the minor leagues for Kansas City in AA, he was tremendous. And then he started to hear all the George Brett comparisons.
He'll take it. It's a strike, 3-2. Well, he led all of Major League Baseball last year with 51 doubles.
He's had 2 outstanding offensive campaigns the last 2 years. Different player from when he was playing third base.
Three-two. Foul away. Can there be less pressure in the outfield as opposed to playing any of the infield positions?
Well, I think the pressure for him was all the comparisons to George Brett because he was so good in college. And he got to the big leagues after really only 1 year in the minor leagues. And then everybody started talking about this is the next George Brett. And quite frankly, we may not ever see another George Brett.
And again, the 3-2. He walked him. All 4 back-to-back walks here in the 5th inning. After a big 4-run fourth for the Tigers offense. Well, join us again tomorrow. The Tigers wrap up this series with the Royals. Coverage begins at noon with Tigers Live. Tigers and Royals tomorrow, 12 noon, right here on Fox Sports Detroit. Jeff Jones out to have a chat. And just in case, the Tigers now get the bullpen working.
Well, you wonder if the lengthy sit down for Max has caused him some control issues here in the 5th.
Newcomer Bruce Rondon, the right-hander. Drew Smiley, the left-hander.
Max has gotten up to 94 here today, as low as 82 with the changeup. We thank Xfinity for those readings on Max.
Well, here is Alcides Escobar. Tying run coming to the plate now with nobody out.
Fielder and Cabrera are thinking that Escobar is up there bunting.
Strike 1.
Good pitch there by Max. The last time Escobar was up, Max threw him a first pitch fastball that he hit in the left field for a single and an RBI. He's a guy that you have to get out with breaking balls.
375 this year with men in scoring position. Backs out of a pitch inside. 1 ball, 1 strike.
That is one thing they have done well as a team this year. Well, there's a few things they've done well, but hitting with runners in scoring position as a team, they came in with a .316 batting average.
Fouled straight back, 1 and 2. Escobar last year hit .293. As you look at the breakdown on Max, only Derek Jeter had a higher batting average among American League shortstops last year. Jeter batted .303. Butler waiting on deck. And the 1-2. Right back up the middle, soft line, fielded by Johnny. He'll throw to first. Everybody is safe. That was an awkward and tough play for Peralta. No chance to get the runner at second, and by that time it was too late for Escobar.
One of those plays where it's right in between. Both he and Infante went for it, and Peralta able to make the play, and Infante behind him, so no way for Peralta to get back to the bag to get the force of Gordon, who was running from first base. It's a bad break there for the Tigers.
And the interesting thing now is it loads the bases for the middle of their lineup. Billy Butler stands in.
Well, Max just needs to forget about Getz, who's standing on third base, and concentrate on getting a double play ball off the bat of Butler here.
Avila with a good pickup, 1-0. 7th hit of the game for KC and the 2nd for Escobar. Max out at 1-2-3, 4th inning. But he's given up 2 walks and an infield single. And the 1-0. 1-1 on Butler.
Tigers bullpen is at full strength as well here tonight with the built-in day off on Monday, and then last night's game being rained out. Everybody is fresh down there, and they got 2 newcomers, Bruce Rondon, and if you haven't heard, Jose Valverde is back.
Fouled straight back, 1-2. It'll be interesting to see how Jim uses Rondon. Obviously came to spring camp with the possibility of winning the closer's job. That didn't work out. He went down to Toledo and was their closer.
It appears he's going to use him early until he shows that he can close at this level.
One and two on Butler. Chopped slowly. Third base side. Max will shovel it home, and they get the force there.
Nice job by Avila. Avila jumped out from his catching position, and it looked like he was going to make the play. Good communication between he and Max. Then all of a sudden he backtracks. He gets back. He finds home plate. And to get the speedy runner, Getz coming home from third. It's a nice play. He found home plate without even looking at it.
That left heel touched home plate for the force. One out. Now you get a ground ball. You get out of the inning. There's Hosmer. Hit the ball hard a couple of times. Sacrifice fly and double.
He won't miss.
Ball one.
I guess there was some question as to whether Avila bobbled this ball or not after it was shuffled to him by Max. But he had it.
Hosmer waits on a 1-0. Here it is. Swing and a miss. One ball and one strike.
Eric Hosmer was a late addition to the United States this spring for the World Baseball Classic squad after Mark Teixeira went down with an injury. Eric Hosmer replaced him.
Now the 1-1 pitch. The outer edge, a strike. 1-2.
Best fastball of the night by Max. 95. Located beautifully.
Scherzer trying to pitch around a couple of walks here in the fifth. And the 1-2. He just got a piece of it, and Hosmer stays alive. Kane waiting on deck. Hosmer hit .293 as a rookie, but last year dropped to .232.
He got some votes for Rookie of the Year. He didn't even come to the big leagues until June or July.
Right. Everybody talks about his power and extra base potential, but he was also 16 of 17 in stolen base opportunities last year. Brings a good glove with him every night as well to first base.
He's battling a little bit of a tender hamstring right now, which he's been battling since spring training. So something hit on the ground would most definitely get the Tigers a double play to get out of this inning.
Avila ran out there to have a chat with Scherzer. Home plate umpire Fielding Culbreth was right behind him. On a chilly night and a ball game that has been slowly paced, Culbreth didn't want to wait around much. 1-2 on Eric Hosmer. Missed it outside. 96 on that fastball. 2-2 on Hosmer. And the 2-2. Bouncing ball foul. Back to the Royals dugout. Hosmer was the third overall selection back in 2008. The Rays last year took Tim Beckham, #1 overall. And Hosmer trying to pick up 3 runners now. He's got Gordon at third base. He's got Escobar at second. And Billy Butler at first. Scherzer trying to gut his way through this 5th inning. And now Hosmer steps out on him. Each team in this game has had a 4-run inning. The Royals scored 4 in the 3rd. Tigers had 4 in the 4th. Three and 2. That's going to load the count with the bases loaded. Max has had a couple of 1, 2, 3 innings. The 1st and the 4th. He has picked up 4 strikeouts in this game, but he has walked 2. And Avila trying to guide him through this 5th inning. Three-2 pitch. He walked him with the bases loaded. That'll force in a run. 3rd walk in the inning for Max.
You wonder if the cold weather has something to do with the inability of Max in this inning, 3 base on balls, and also the starter Wade Davis to find the strike zone here tonight, because both guys came in with really good numbers as far as throwing the ball over the plate.
MLB.com At Bat is the #1 source for live baseball everywhere you go. Available for iPhone, iPad, Android, and BlackBerry 10. At Bat delivers Detroit Tigers baseball. Text At Bat to 31826 or visit Tigers.com. Here's Lorenzo Cain. Bases are still loaded. Ball 1 inside.
He's been their best hitter with runners in scoring position, and really overall he's been their best hitter this year. .356 batting average with 1 homer and 9 ribbies.
Fought that one off and banged it off his foot or his leg. 1 ball, 1 strike, and Max really throwing a lot of pitches here in the 5th. 30 of them now in this inning. And he's recorded just 1 out. He's throwing as many balls as strikes here in the 5th as well. 3 base on balls. Here's the 1-1. Line to right field, slicing foul. Just a couple of feet outside that line. 1 ball, 2 strikes on Lorenzo Cain.
Max is getting into that area where Jim Leyland may be forced into making a decision on Max if he doesn't get Cain here. Already over 30 pitches, but he needs to finish this inning to qualify for a win.
Smiley and Rondon would both be ready if needed. Cain hit into a double play back in the 3rd. He's hit the ball on the ground twice. Here's the 1-2. High, 2 balls, 2 strikes. So the pitch count was at a comfortable level coming into this 5th inning, but it's shot all the way up to 87 now. Avila blocks it, and it goes to 3-2.
Talked about the fact that Cain has been hot this year, and that's one of the reasons why Max pitching very carefully to him.
Moustakas waiting on deck. Well, can't afford to be very careful right now. The bases are loaded. The count is 3-2. And a foul back out of play.
Here's those numbers on Kane. These are MLB ranks.
455 when he puts the ball in play.
I was wondering what that was there for a moment. I had to look at that bottom note.
Throw you for a loop.
They got all kind of stuff these days. WAR and what was this?
BABIP.
Oh my goodness.
3-2 pitch. Got him. Strike three. Oh, was that big? Kane doesn't like it. Field and Culbreth punched him out of there.
Well, we'll see if Kane has a beef, but in a 3-2 count, you know you have to be aggressive. Even though Max has thrown a lot of balls, you have to be ready to hit. And even though it may have been a ball way too close to take with the sacks full.
And Avila held it there for Field and Culbreth, who punched him out. Big second out of the inning, and now it's up to Mike Moustakas. Swing and a miss, 0-1. And Max still has that good fact, despite the fact that he's thrown well over 30 pitches in this inning. That last one at 94.
And for a horse like Max, that he's just getting loose right now.
36th pitch in the inning. And the 0-1 off the plate. 1 ball, 1 strike. Moustakas 0 for 2. Seven runs, 8 hits for Detroit. The Royals 5 runs, 7 hits. Now the 1-1. Fouled straight back, and now Scherzer 1 strike away from shutting down this inning. Tigers got him 4 in the 4th, but Scherzer walked 2 batters and then walked one with the bases loaded to drive in a run. They are still loaded, but it's 1-2 on Moustakas. 7th man to bat in this inning as Avila heads out to the mound. One and two. Swing and a miss. He struck him out. Moustakas fans. 6 strikeouts for Max. It took 39 pitches to get through the 5th, but the Royals 7 for 1. Tigers baseball tonight presented by Bell Tire. Ball game as we go to the bottom of the 5th inning. The Tigers scoring 4 in the 4th, their biggest inning. And Detroit here in the home half will have Omar Infante leading it off. Infante, Jackson, and Torrey Hunter facing Luis Mendoza, who had to come on in the 4th inning after Wade Davis was taken out of the game. Mendoza took over after the RBI single by Victor Martinez. And ball 1 missing to Infante.
And Mendoza's got some heavy sink on his fastball, anywhere from 87 to 91 miles an hour, but it's got a lot of late life on it. A very difficult pitch to hit, and he gets lots of ground balls with that two-seamer.
These 2 pitching staffs have combined for 9 walks in this game already. 1 ball, 1 strike. It's been a good night so far for Omar. He loops that one back out of play. A couple of singles for Infante, plus an RBI and a run scored. And the Infante batting average now is up to 274. Here's the 1-2. Inside and high. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Mendoza last year joined the Royals rotation on June 12th. He posted an ERA of 3.83 the remainder of the season. He was one of their more consistent pitchers down the stretch. The 2-2 lifted in the air, heading back to the seats. Hosmer is out of room.
Dayton Moore, their general manager, did a marvelous job of retooling their starting rotation. And Jeremy Guthrie, he made a deal for him last year, getting him from Colorado. And Guthrie was good for them down the stretch. And then you add Wade Davis, James Shields, and they also got Irvin Santana from the Los Angeles Angels. He did not have a good year last year in Los Angeles.
Driven toward left center field. Kane is on the run, still going, can't get it. All the way to the wall. Infante's on his way to third, and Omar has a triple.
If you weren't with us a couple of innings ago, we brought up the fact that Kane plays a very shallow center field, and because he has tremendous range and he has good speed. He would not have caught the double over his head earlier that Miguel hit, but he may have caught this ball if he's playing a little bit deeper. Omar Infante is just on fire here tonight.
Third hit of the game for Infante. 2 singles and a triple, and now the Tigers in good shape and getting that run back. Here is Austin Jackson. Scored a run in his last at bat, and he looks to strike 1.
And Ned Yost not playing his infield all the way in. They're about 3-4 steps in back of the cut of the grass. They want to make Omar Infante make a decision as to whether he's going to come home on a ground ball to one of their defenders in the infield.
Jackson is 0 for 3. The run that he scored back in the 4th was his 20th of the year, which ties him with Coco Crisp for the lead in the American League. Well on his way to another 100-run season. The 0-2. Torrey Hunter will be next. Tigers now have 9 hits on the scoreboard. Max had that 39 pitch inning. But the Tigers trying to get back the run that he gave up in the 5th. Tremendous opportunity for the Royals. They left him loaded though and settled for 1. One ball, 2 strikes. I mentioned Mendoza's out of Veracruz, Mexico. He pitched winter ball in the Mexican Winter League and led his team to the Caribbean World Series title. He was the MVP, so he had a really good offseason after a very good second half to last season. Now the 1-2. Swing and a miss, and Jackson is out of there.
Well, that's the reason why he is in the rotation, and guys like Bruce Chen and Luke Hochevar are now pitching out of that bullpen for Kansas City.
And make sure you visit your life-size Detroit Tigers located in the Jefferson lobby of the Renaissance Center. For more information on April in the D, visit foxsportsdetroit.com and check out the life-size bobbleheads of Verlander and Cabrera at the RenCen. April in the D is winding down. Here's Hunter. Infield still in a couple of steps, and Torrey pops it up. Shallow right field. Francoeur coming in, still coming. And there are two gone. No chance at all for Infante to score. So it's going to be up to Miguel Cabrera with 2 outs. Is that a nice night? Cabrera single double sacrifice fly. A very hefty 372 batting average. Cabrera now has hit safely in 8 straight. Mendoza trying to kick some of the dirt out of his cleats.
Cabrera was given his first error of the season. It was a ball that was hit off the bat of Albert Pujols on Sunday. And that Pujols initially was given a double and an RBI on. They changed that ruling to an error on Miguel.
Ground ball foul, third base side. Well, Cabrera's had some really good numbers in his career against these Royals.
He's worn them out. But he's worn out a whole lot of American League opponents. But none more than the Kansas City Royals. 64 RBIs in 92 games.
Miguel was driven in 19 this year. Mendoza ahead in the count 0-1 with Infante at third and 2 outs. He went around. And it's 0-2. Tigers trying to avoid wasting a leadoff triple. No doubt about that. And the 0-2. Just off the plate. Tigers homestand will be shortened by a game, but the rain out last night. But they'll have Atlanta coming in for the weekend and then Minnesota next week. And the 1-2. Good pickup down behind the plate by Perez. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Even when Miguel does fall behind, no balls and 2 strikes, the opposing pitchers so infrequently go right back after him, and the next thing you know, he's worked the count back to 2-2, on many occasions 3-2, and he gets himself back into the count by taking close pitches.
And it's happened here again. Now it's 3-2. Fielder on deck.
Dangerous bat. Hitting 372 on the season, hitting 480 with runners in scoring position. Nearly 500 in these types of situations this year.
Here's the 3-2. That'll be ball 4 and a walk, so he ends up taking the base on balls. 10 walks now between the 2 staffs.
Of the 7 walks the Tigers have received today, only 2 of those walks have come around to touch home plate.
35 pitches for Mendoza, and he has thrown just nearly as many balls as strikes. which was the case for the guy that he took over for, tonight's starter Wade Davis of the Royals. And this is a KC team that came in second in the American League with an ERA of 3.31. Now Prince Fielder. He's walked twice himself. In for strike one. Prince is also scoring a couple of runs. Here's the 0-1 pitch. Make it 0-2. Tigers have gotten good production out of 3, 4, 5 in this game. Part of the lineup has come through. Cabrera has a couple of hits and an RBI. Fielder has walked twice and scored twice. Martinez 2 RBIs. It was Infante that led off with a triple. He's still standing there, and Cabrera at first. Yakking away with Eric Hosmer. And the 0-2. Perez again has to go down to block a ball. 1-2. Fielder leading the Tigers with 21 RBIs, although Cabrera right behind him now with 19. Trying to cash in a couple more here in the 5th inning. 7-5 Detroit. And a ground ball foul. Well, the Tigers in that series against the Angels, they were 3 for 26 with men in scoring position.
It was almost comical with all the talent that they have on the offensive side. And Jim Leland knew his club would not continue to swing the bats the way that they swung the bats in Los Angeles.
Swing and a miss, and Fielder is out of there. The Tigers waste a scoring opportunity. No runs. They get a triple, a walk, and strand 2, and we hobble to the 6th.
Loaded jam. This is Moustakas, the left-hander in the batter's box. It's our bell tire pitch by pitch. Max pounding that strike zone with good hard fastballs, then changed the eye level. Moustakas went to the bottom of the zone with a real good changeup.
Well, we've got a wall side windows pitching change. Al Albuquerque is in, and he's probably coming off his best outing that we've seen in a long, long time.
And that's exactly what Jim Leland was saying yesterday down in that Tigers dugout. He had a ton of strikeouts in the 2 innings that he worked just a few days ago in Los Angeles. Real good slider. The fastball was the pitch, however, that Jim was talking about, because he was throwing that pitch at 95 miles an hour and above.
So the Tigers with a 2-1 lead, 7-5 as we go now to the top of the 6th. And Albuquerque will face the bottom 3, Francoeur, Perez, and Getz.
Albuquerque has a couple different sliders. He has the one slider that he will throw, just a little get me over slider, not as much break to it, not as much tilt. But once he gets ahead of you, that's when he throws you that swing and miss slide piece that usually ends up down and away from the right-handers, down and in on the left-handed batter.
Here is Francoeur to start things off for KC, and he looks at ball 1. Slider away to start him.
I've noticed so many American League hitters going up to the plate looking for the Al Albuquerque slider, which you really can't hit. And then they take their fastballs, which are right down the middle.
Missed on the bunt.
Not a bad idea by Francoeur. Had a real good pitch to bunt there, too. Hanging breaking ball at 84 miles an hour. Cabrera playing real deep at third base.
Here's the 1-1. Ground ball to short. Johnny scoops it up. Oh, throws high, but he got the tag. Kurt's fielder bailed him out.
Johnny about as accurate with his throwing arm as any shortstop in the major leagues. Only 7 errors last year by Peralta, 7 in 2011 as well. That ball just sailed on, and Prince able to climb the ladder, come back down, and touch the backside of Francoeur trying to run by him.
Nice tag by Prince. It'll keep the leadoff man off the bases. Strike 1 on Salvador Perez. Right there, you can see the jersey move on the swipe. Good play. Right back up the middle. It's going to hit the bag and get into center field. 1 out single, and let's go back to the studio now for a game break. Here's Mickey York. Yeah, we're kind of crawling here tonight, Mick, as we play in the 6th inning. We're about 2.5 hours into this one. And Albuquerque now will face Chris Getz, who has a single and a walk. Red Sox are 14-7 now. Strike 1 on Getz. Ground ball right side of the infield. Infante will spin to second 1, and that's all they're going to get. Fielder's choice, and Getz aboard with 2 away. Top of the order now, Alex Gordon. Tiger bullpen by and large, despite that walk-off win for the Angels on Sunday, really performed well on that last road trip. And they've gotten some reinforcements with Rondon coming up, and of course the signing of Valverde. Strike 1 call. Papa Grande these days sporting a 2-tone beard. Did you happen to catch it?
I did see that.
Now the 0-1. High fly ball center field. Jackson back. Under it. And Albuquerque gets through the 6th. No runs, a single 1 left. Nights here at a chilly Comerica Park. The Tigers trying to add to their lead. We'll have Victor Martinez leading it off against Luis Mendoza, who is starting his second full inning of work. Mendoza came out in the fourth in relief of tonight's starter Wade Davis of the Royals.
If you weren't with us earlier, I made mention of the fact that Victor Martinez told me yesterday. Of course, the Tigers did not play last night. They were rained out, but he told me he was going to get 3 hits in the ball game last night, and he had to wait a day. He's gotten 2 already today, looking for his 3rd knock of the evening.
RBI double in the 3rd, RBI single in the 4th, and really should have 3 hits. Hosmer robbed him in his first at bat. There's strike 1.
That's right.
Hey, we had a good time today at the Detroit Economic Club. We have the big luncheon that we have there every year, and Victor Martinez told a story about his young son, Victor Jose, who was with him. And of course, his son is with him at the ballpark on most days. And Victor takes a ball outside. It was a funny story. They were talking about how after a year off, Victor was back in spring camp and he was signing autographs, and his young son looked up at him and said, "Dad, you're famous again." After taking a year off, he had lost that distinction of being famous, apparently. There's a hard ground ball to short, right at Escobar. He throws him out.
Of course, those of us that are dads, we know that you're not famous at home anyway.
No, that's true.
And they have a way of keeping you in check at the crib.
You're just the guy that makes the rules at home.
That they follow sometimes.
If you're lucky. Andy Dirks will stand in.
Victor's had 4 good at-bats today.
A positive sign indeed. Dirks, ball 1.
They got to get Andy going too. Andy had a real good year last year, hitting .322 and about 300 plate appearances.
Now the 1-0. Little chopper back to the mound. Mendoza will handle it. Hosmer will cover. 2 gone.
I was having a conversation with Simo a couple of days ago, and Craig was saying that he thinks Andy Dirks would have been better served had he gone back down to the Dominican Republic and played winter ball again, because the last couple of years Andy had gotten out the gate so well after playing a couple of years down in the Dominican.
Andy loved playing in the Dominican as well.
He was a rock star down there.
Well, with 2 outs, here is Johnny Peralta. Tigers lead 7-5. We're in the 6th. Ball 1. Big night for Johnny. 2 hits, base loaded walks, got a couple of RBIs. Tigers about hit the Royals 9-8. Here is Mendoza's 1-0. Ground ball back up the middle. Escobar to his left. And Mendoza has himself an easy 1-2-3 inning. We go to the 7th. Well, the boys are back with a bang. April in the D continues. Tigers coming back home with 7 runs on 9 hits, and they lead by 2, 7-5 as we go to the top of the 7th.
Last couple of times Albuquerque has gone out there for the Tigers, his pitch count has been so good. Jim has been able to run him out there for a second inning. Only 9 pitches for Albuquerque in the 6th.
And he will face Escobar, Butler, and Hosmer.
He threw only 20 a couple of days ago, and he had 4 strikeouts in the 2 innings that he pitched that afternoon in Los Angeles.
Yeah, that's efficient. There's the 1-0. Swing and a miss.
That's slider.
Albuquerque making the opening day roster for the first time in his career. Got called up a couple of years ago, midway through the season. Was injured for most of last year. 2-1 the count. Escobar in this game, couple of hits, one of the infield variety. He also has an RBI. Swing and a miss. That can be just a nasty, devastating pitch. Two and two on Alcides Escobar. Did he chase the slider? He did. Strikeout for Al. Time now for tonight's Ace Hardware Scott's fan poll question of the game. Which American League Central team is the Tigers' biggest competition this season? Is it A, the Royals, B, the White Sox, C, the Indians, or D, the Twins? You can enter your vote by texting ACE, then a space, and then the letter answer to 37338. One out. Billy Butler stands in. What is your opinion on that?
It'll be between these guys right here and the Chicago White Sox, in my opinion.
Yep, I agree with that 100%. There's the strike call. Can't count out the Sox. They still have quite a few good veteran players on their roster.
Although they're in last place in the AL Central as we speak, but they got good big league players.
The 0-1. Butler lines one foul. 0-2. Billy 1 for 3, an RBI single off Max Scherzer in the 3rd. Max went 5 innings in this game. Fanning 6.
Hard to get Billy Butler out in the strike zone with fastballs or sliders. And so if you're Albuquerque, you might want to see if he'll chase one, especially in the 0-2 count.
Shoot another one back out of play. Albuquerque came on in the 6th inning and needed just 9 pitches to get through that frame. There's Hosmer waiting on deck.
I heard Billy Butler's got his own barbecue sauce. Did you read that?
Yeah. Oh, I didn't. Does he really?
Yeah, he's got his own barbecue sauce.
What's it called? Swing and a miss. 2 gone.
I forget what it's called, but how can you have barbecue sauce when you play in Kansas City? They got good barbecue there.
Yeah, it's going to be tough to crack the shelves in Kansas City, that's for sure.
Here's that slider. You see how he grips that slider? You will not see another pitcher grip the slider the way that he grips the slider. Way back in his hands, the index finger and the middle finger are both split. It looks more like a splitter than it does a slider.
Here's Hosmer. Ball 1. Back-to-back strikeouts here in the 7th inning.
A couple of years ago, Albuquerque, and when he burst on the scene for the Tigers, he averaged nearly 14 strikeouts per 9 innings.
high 3-0. By the way, it's called Billy's barbecue sauce. That's it, folks. Billy's barbecue sauce. I hope he did not employ a PR department to come up with that. Ball 4. Well, the Tigers have had some bright spots in relief this year.
They have. Drew Smiley, he's the long guy down there, and Jim has used him very effectively. Albuquerque, Benoit, Darren Downs have all done nice work out of that Tigers bullpen.
Ball inside.
I have a feeling that Tigers bullpen going to get a whole lot better as the Tigers continue to pitch 6 and 7 innings a day. Max, of course, didn't get there tonight. But when you start talking about the bullpen and the addition of Valverde and Rondon.
Coke and Benoit warming up, and Kevin Rand coming out now to have a chat with Albuquerque.
So is the skipper.
And he's in tow, and there he is. Al says, I'm all right. One ball, no strikes on Lorenzo Cain. Been a tough night for Cain. 0 for 3, strikeout and a double play among his at bats. Ball high, 2-0. So Albuquerque was cruising along, but the walk of Hosmer, now he's falling behind Cain. And the 2-0. 3-0 on Cain. Moustakas waiting on deck. He's a left-hander. .16 inning now for Al. And there's ball 4 way high. So back-to-back walks on 4 pitches to Hosmer and Cain. All of a sudden the tying runs are on. And that's going to be it for Albuquerque. Here comes the skip. And he's going to want the left-hander Phil Coe or the right-hander Benoit. He's going to want Benoit here. So Albuquerque just lost it very quickly here after the 2 punch-outs. Al will depart the scene and will step aside. Pitching change here at Comerica in a 7-5 game.
Summary, Tigers scored a couple of runs in the third inning. Victor Martinez doubling down in that right field corner. Then Peralta also singling, driving in one. Huge play in the fourth. Should have been a double play to get Davis out of the inning. Instead, the Tigers scored 4 runs on a couple of base hits, also some base on balls, some wildness in that inning by Mendoza, and also their starter Wade Davis.
So Joaquin Benoit will come out of the bullpen, making his 9th appearance of this season.
Joaquin, some good numbers. A couple of holds. The ERA sitting right at 2. And the opponent's batting average just about 180 against Joaquin.
He is facing the lefty Mike Moustakas, who is 1 for 6 against him with 3 punch-outs.
He's hitting poorly this year against left-handers and right-handers, but I'm sure those numbers right there that you just mentioned are the reason why Jim Leland went to Joaquin in this situation instead of going to Phil Koch, who was hot and ready in that bullpen too.
Here's the 1-0. Into the glove for a strike. 1-1. 167 against lefties, 154 against righties, but those numbers are going to be like that when he came in batting 158 overall. He's not gotten him track really against anybody this year. Here's the 1-1. 2 balls, 1 strike. Seven 9-0 for Detroit. Royals 5-8-1. Tying runs aboard for KC. Walks to Hosmer and Kane. And Moustakas is trying to cash in. Popped him up. He's going to take it. Prince coming in hard, and he'll make the catch. Basket style. And the threat is over. Moustakas pops up to end the inning. Couple of walks. Do not score. Ballpark. Tigers holding on to that 2-run lead. Here is the upcoming pitching matchup presented by Gordon Chevrolet. It's going to be a dandy tomorrow afternoon here.
Oh, no doubt about that. You have both aces of their respective clubs going. Shields really hasn't gotten any run support from his Royals this year. Therefore, he's lost 2 games, even though the numbers are really good. The ERA at 3, 28 strikeouts. You know all about Justin Verlander, who had a really good start his last time out and came up with a loss in that game.
J.C. Gutierrez is in now for Kansas City.
Fifth game for Gutierrez. Doesn't have a record, has one hole. The ERA is over 8. And with 3 strikeouts and 1 walk in 3 1/3 innings pitched so far this year.
A native of Puerto de la Cruz, Venezuela. He's 6'3", 225, and Alex Avila will lead it off. Mendoza retired the last 4 that he faced, got the Tigers in order in the 6th, and here they come in the 7th against Gutierrez. Little bouncer hit slowly back up towards second base. Gonna have to hurry, and they got him. He shoveled it, did Chris Getz, right out of his glove, and Avila out. 1 gone. He's going to bring up Infante, who's had a really nice night. 3 hits, 2 singles, triple, RBI run scored. Gutierrez trying to make a comeback after undergoing Tommy John surgery. And his right elbow, missing the majority of 2011 and the first half of 2012.
They've got some arms in the bullpen. And Gutierrez just threw Infante a fastball at 95 miles an hour. They also have the young kid Collins, the left-hander, out there. Short left-hander, but boy, he's got a power arm. Crow.
Here's the 1-1. In the air toward right. Francoeur. 2 outs. Well, this Sunday at 8:05, the Tigers battle the Atlanta Braves. Don't miss the special pregame ceremony honoring 1984 World Series champ Larry Herndon. For tickets, call 866-66-TIGER or visit tigers.com. That'll be fun.
Got a lot of love for Hondo. He took me under his wing that year in spring training, and then once the season began, never had to pay for a meal.
He was your guy, wasn't he?
He was my guy.
Here's Austin Jackson. AJ is 0 for 4. Ball low from Gutierrez, who spent time in the Arizona Diamondbacks organization. And Houston as well. Mostly with the Diamondbacks, though. Bouncing ball to short, right at Escobar. And that is that. Tigers go 1, 2, 3 in the 7th. Let's go to the 8th. Victor Martinez 2 out of 4 in this game with a double and 2 RBIs. Tigers' fourth inning was their biggest. They scored 4 runs on the benefit of just 2 hits. And Max Scherzer, kind of a mixed bag tonight. He had 6 strikeouts, 5 earned runs, 5 innings. But this is his game to win if the Tiger bullpen can hold it. And on a chilly night, they're all bundled up, but they're enjoying Tigers baseball nonetheless. Temperature hovering around 40 degrees for this entire game. And Joaquin Benoit will head back out there in the 8th. He got the final out of the 7th. Got the bottom 3 to deal with: Francoeur, Perez, and Getz. Francoeur looks at strike 1. Hitless tonight. He's 0 for 3. Tigers 9 hits tonight, and the Royals have 8. Here's the 0-1. Breaks outside. 1 ball, 1 strike. Bouncing ball, third base side, right at Cabrera. 1 out. Aside from the 2 walks that Albuquerque came up with in the 7th, the Royals have not been able to do a whole lot against the Tigers' pen. Salvador Perez will bat. 2 singles and a run scored. Strike 1. Look who's warming up. Papa Grande is back. 2-run game right now, shaping up to be a save situation. Way outside. 1-1.
I got a nice scouting report from my young son Andrew, who was playing in Florida in extended spring. He said Papa Grande was throwing the ball well down there. Throwing a lot of strikes, good fastballs. They also hated to see him go, because when those big league players go down there and they're on the disabled list or rehabbing, they usually feed you every day. He said they ate good while Papa Grande was there.
Here's the 1-1 pitch. Off the end of the bat. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Well, the hope is that, Jose can come and immediately have some success. Maybe get 1 or 2 save opportunities out of the way and kind of settle in. Because the Tigers definitely need someone at the back end of their pen to be designated as the closer. So they can just move on. Everybody else slides into their slots and hopefully have a lot of success. 1-2 on Salvador Perez. Didn't go. Bill Welke agrees. 2-2. Chris Getz waiting on deck. Swing and a miss. Perez down on strikes. 2 gone.
A change up here from Benoit at 82 miles an hour in a really nice area. It's a real nice look at it there.
9 strikeouts for Tigers pitching tonight. Here's Getz. Slapped toward left field, slicing, and back out of play. Getz on base 3 times tonight. Single walk, fielder's choice. And the 0-1. Bouncing ball right side. Fielder will feed Benoit. 1-2-3 inning for Joaquin Benoit. We go to the bottom of the 8th. Brought to you by Comerica Bank, a part of Detroit and the community since 1849. Your Metro Detroit Chevy dealers. Visit ChevyDetroit.com. See why Chevy drives the Motor City. And by Wallside Windows, the official window company of Fox Sports Detroit. Jose Valverde warming up in the Detroit bullpen. It's a 2-run game right now. We'll see if this stays a save situation. And the Tigers come to bat here in the bottom of the 8th inning. Hunter Cabrera, fielder. Torre in the ball game is hitless. He has scored a run.
Torre hasn't taken many offers this year.
Average right now at 372. Gutierrez back out there. Had a 7-pitch 7th inning. And he starts off with a breaking ball strike.
He's got about a 13-mile-per-hour differential between his best fastball at 95 and that slider at 82.
Checked it. Did he go? Yep.
And you'll see swings like the one that Torrey Hunter just took when a guy's got a big fastball in the mid-90s. You dial up for that fastball, and if he does throw you a breaking ball, a lot of times you're going to be out there too far and you can't hold up.
Now the 0-2. Checked it. That time no appeal. 1-2. .6'3", 247, the 29-year-old Gutierrez. And the 1-2. Fouled back to the screen. The Royals in the 9th will have the top of their lineup. Cabrera's trying to keep one in front of the heater. That bounces in.
Don't blame him at all.
.39 degrees right now, according to the thermometer on the scoreboard. Chopper to third. Moustakas on the charge. Hunter is out. One away in the 8th. Now Miguel Cabrera. was the aforementioned Collins, the diminutive one. Cabrera tonight, single, double, sac fly, and he has walked. One ball, no strikes. Each team with a 4-run inning. The Royals at one point early in this game led 4-1. The Tigers would have none of that. They scored 5 unanswered, actually 6 unanswered runs. They'll shoot that one foul out of play. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Gutierrez got away with one right there. A 94-mile-per-hour fastball that got way too much plate, and McGill had a really good rip at it.
Tigers in search of their 10th win. Ground ball back up the middle on the backhand. Gets 2 gone. That is 9 straight retired by the Royals bullpen. Going to bring up Prince Fielder. Couple of walks tonight for Prince, and he has scored twice. Oh, 0-1.
Looked like a changeup there from Gutierrez to go along with the slider and the fastball in the mid-90s.
You were talking about this earlier in the game. It's gotten to be that the game has changed now. It's almost as if you don't want to knock the starter out. You want to try and get as much done against him because these bullpens, by and large, have been really good.
There's a lot of bullpen pieces these days that are 95 and above, and not just 1 or 2 guys, but 4 or 5 members of that bullpen. Kansas City's got about 4 guys at least that are 95 and above. Holland, their closer. Herrera, their setup guy. Collins, and this guy Gutierrez.
Three and 1 on Prince. Victor Martinez would be next. And he walked him. So it'll stop the string of 9 straight retired. It's the 3rd walk of the night for Prince. Grande is ready to go. Boy, Victor's had 4 really good at bats tonight. He's hit the ball hard all 4 times. He's got a single, a double, and 2 RBIs. Average at 200 right now and climbing. And he looks at ball 1. Verlander and Shields tomorrow to wrap up the series. Checked it. Two balls, no strikes. Tigers would love to add another run here in the 8th inning. They're up by 2. They've out hit the Royals tonight 9-8. And the 2-0. Ground ball foul. 2-1 on Martinez. Victor came in a lifetime 300 hitter against Kansas City pitching. He's done nothing to hurt those numbers tonight. Here's the 2-1 pitch. Ripped back towards second. Getz will toss it for the force. And that'll end the inning. So the Tigers will head to the ninth. They will lead it by 2. And Jose Valverde making his final preparations to come into this game. Valverde, up from Lakeland, will make his first Tigers appearance here tonight. With a save in his sights. And Jose Valverde will try and record his first save in his first appearance in the big leagues this year. And we'll check out his numbers from last season with the Tigers.
He was 35 of 40 in save opportunities, and that prompted the Tigers not to bring him back initially in the offseason, but Valverde's still out there. First week of the season, Tigers struggling in that bullpen, decided to take a look at Jose, and he finds himself back in the big leagues 3 weeks later.
And he will try and protect a 2-run lead here in the ninth against the top of the Royals order. It'll be Gordon, Escobar, and Butler. And he misses inside. 1 ball to no strikes. They were saying that Valverde was throwing mid-90s and a little bit beyond at times. Gordon 1 for 6 against him career.
And they also say that split-fingered fastball, which has been his signature pitch since coming to the big leagues, is back.
And there's a strike, 1-1. One change we have seen from Valverde, he used to have a little twist at the hips before he delivered the ball last year. Now it's more of a straight bend over.
He's got a full windup too, going straight over the top of the head. Very deliberate.
2-1 on Alex Gordon. That'll go foul down the left field line. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Jose was working out in the Dominican Republic. The Tigers sent some scouts down there to take a look at him as we take a peek at all-time saves leader in franchise history. Valverde checks in 5th with 110. But the Tigers were encouraged by the velocity that they saw from Valverde, and that's why they gave him another opportunity.
Here's the 2-2 coming home. Oh, just missed. 3-2. Just a touch low. Oh, Papa said I had him.
Here's where a couple of years ago he would go to that split-fingered fastball. We'll see if he has any confidence in it whatsoever.
Fouled away.
It's not so much that you can't get big league hitters out with a 90-mile-per-hour fastball, which is where Valverde's fastball was last year. But he didn't have that 10-mile-per-hour differential in between the split-fingered fastball and the fastball. So now he's back up to 94, which automatically is going to make that splitter a much more effective pitch for him this time around.
In the air toward left field, chasing Dirks back to the warning track. 1 gone.
It's a big out there for Jose. It will allow him to take a breather and not worry about a base stealer being on at first base.
Albuquerque and Benoit doing fine work in relief. They hand the baseball to Valverde here in the 9th, trying to record the save.
How about Jim? As soon as Valverde, and it was announced that he was coming back, Jim said, you know what, if it's a save situation tomorrow night, Valverde will be my guy.
Yeah, there was no easing back into the situation. Jim likes to say he's not afraid of the 9th inning, so he threw him right in there. Escobar's had little success in his career against Valverde. And he looks at ball 1.
The Tigers had until May 8th to make a decision on Valverde, whether to bring him up or do whatever they wanted to do before he could have asked for his release, and they would have had to grant it to him because that was part of the deal that he signed. But he finds himself in the big leagues on April 25th.
Now the 1-0. Are you surprised at all that he did not make at least a pit stop at AAA?
Not really, because after he pitched in back-to-back games and they knew the velocity was at 94, 95, he probably didn't have to go see any AAA hitters.
1 ball, 1 strikeout. Alcides Escobar. To the second baseman. Infante. 2 gone. 1 more out to get. And as soon as the game ends, our coverage continues with Tigers Live. We'll check in with the skipper, all the players, break down the game, show you the highlights. You know the drill by now. Tigers Live immediately after the game from the Coliseum Studios here on Fox Sports Detroit. Now they're on their feet. 2 up, 2 down against Valverde. Here is Billy Butler. 2 for 7 with 4 strikeouts in his career against Valverde. Ball 1. Billy Butler tonight. RBI single in their 4-run third. Only other inning they have scored was a run in the 5th. Way outside, 2-0. Jose wants a new baseball. Sixth in the American League last year with 35 saves. With the 2 that Valverde was unable to convert in the postseason last year. One of the remaining memories of last season for Valverde. And the 2-0. There's a strike, 2-1. Royals need a base runner to bring the tying run to the plate. Eric Hosmer waiting on deck. Two-one pitch. 2-2.
Valverde has thrown 14 pitches, and all 14 have been fastballs.
Here's the 2-2 pitch. Just got a piece of it, fouling it straight back. Butler is still alive.
94-mile-per-hour fastball from Papa Grande. Right down the middle.
He pulled it out of the glove of Vila. Staying alive. Ground ball, third base side, foul. 2-2 the count stays. Tigers trying to get to their 10th victory of the season. They came in at 9-9. Rain shortened series. They'll play one more against the Royals. Then Atlanta comes in over the weekend. But first things first, Valverde trying to nail down his first save of 2013. Missed it high, 3-2. Should Butler reach? Hosmer next. Oh, and missed out of the strike zone. Putting the fox traps. 100% fastballs here for Valverde. Here is the 3-2. High fly ball to left field. Dirk's going back to the track, waiting, and the Tigers win. And Jose Valverde, welcome back.
Happy for Valverde.
A 1-2-3 ninth inning for Jose Valverde in his return to Detroit. A clean save here in the ninth. And the Tigers take game one in this rain-shortened series. He got a couple of fly balls and a ground out. And Valverde celebrates with his teammates. Big hug there from Prince Fielder. Last out of the ball game, the fly to left, and Valverde goes 1-2-3, and that's a Tigers win.